Louisiana who are unaffected by the flu.
That is exactly right. Just looking at the numbers within Louisiana, still can get the flu. Follow those simple rules.
Dr. Frank Welch, thank you so
Good morning. It's 3 past 6 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Don't forget about the KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source.
don't forget you owe me lunch.
Those odds makers know what they're doing, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Miss Erin has local news in just a second.
Flu numbers are on the rise. We'll tell you more about that. A young girl is shot in the leg in Shreveport. We'll have that, too. And the governor has some items he wants lawmakers to approve, and you might not agree with them.
Alabama, Tony Tagovailoa comes off the bench.
It wasn't Tony Tagovailoa.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Him.
And,
we're going to call him Tua.
And, it is his name.
Yeah.
An amazing comeback for the Crimson Tide, and the guy, you must admit, is the greatest college football coach of all time.
Who does that?
Fletcher and...
That's amazing.
We'll get to this. Fletcher and sports, traffic, and weather. It's all here this hour, and it's coming up on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Flu numbers on the rise. Dr. Frank Welch with DHH has some advice for folks who are healthy.
Just make sure if you are healthy and want to stay healthy, you stay away from sick people and wash your hands a lot. Then when you're at work, just make sure that that you wash frequently used surfaces like doorknobs and telephones frequently. That can help as well.
He says there are two types this year, type A and B. A, very serious. A child recovering after being shot in the leg. The 7-year-old girl was taken to University Health in a private vehicle. Police went to a home on Merwin Street to investigate how the youngster was wounded. They've determined the girl was apparently shot by a 14-year-old inside the home. Crime numbers down in Caddo Parish. Matt Parker with that.
Crime is down in Caddo Parish. According to stats from the Caddo Parish Sheriff's end-of-year report, overall, crime was down 3%. The only crimes that increased in 2017 were shoplifting and general theft. Sheriff Steve Prater says he is proud of the hard work done by his deputies and citizens. The stats, however, do not include the city of Shreveport or any other local area with their own police department. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Busted pipes won't affect your bottom line. Due to harsh freezing temps last week, dozens of water mains burst in Shreveport. Barbara Featherston from the Water and Sewer Department says crews had to repair nearly 60 water mains over 3 days. Despite the increase in workload, Featherston says the repairs were all budgeted for by her department and there will be no increases in anyone's monthly water or sewer bill. The governor has several items he would like to accomplish during the regular legislative session when lawmakers convene in March. Edwards will once again ask them to increase the minimum wage. 18 states increased the minimum wage January 1st. He says $7.25 an hour is just not enough for hard-working Louisiana families.
The federal minimum wage in 2018 is wholly insufficient, and we need to increase that so working men and women have a fair opportunity to get ahead and support themselves.
No decision yet on a possible special session for next month. The Shreveport Council expected to vote today on measures that would allow public drinking at sidewalk cafes as well as bars and restaurants with patio seating. The new ordinance would also speed up the process for event planners and promoters who want to hold outdoor events with public alcohol consumption. The council meeting kicks off at 3 this afternoon. Congress now back in session, and Louisiana Senator John Kennedy is ready to discuss the reauthorization of CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program that helps many low-income families in the state and around the nation.
Louisiana U.S. Senator John Kennedy is pushing to have Congress reauthorize CHIP sooner than later. Kennedy wrote to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, urging him to make reauthorization of CHIP a priority. He wrote that Louisiana's CHIP program will run out of money by mid-February, so the reauthorization needs to happen now.
It makes sense in terms of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. An unhealthy child is likely to grow up to be an unhealthy adult and cost taxpayers more later.
I'm Sabrina Wilson, Fox 8 News.
After a heartbreaking overtime loss to Alabama in the national championship game, Georgia head coach Kirby Smart says the Bulldogs will come back from the defeat.
I think everybody can see that Georgia's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm very proud of this team and this university, and we're not going anywhere.
The Bulldogs lose 31 seniors. It's been 37 years since the Dogs have last won a national title. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Good morning. It's 10 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic. Starting us off, Ruben's here.
It is once again the best time of day to get where you're going because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work or school. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Jewella Avenue between Mansfield Road and Hollywood Avenue due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Good morning. It's 12 past 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. The young man's name is Tua Tagovailoa. Got that right?
Tagovailoa. Yeah, Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua, not Tony Tagovailoa.
No, not Tony Tagovailoa.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
Freshman.
From Hawaii.
Did you know when Alabama scored the winning touchdown last night, there were 6. How many? 6 true freshmen on the field for the Crimson Tide.
Wow. Including the passer and the pass catcher.
In the most intense, highly pressurized moment of the college football season, Alabama.
More than half your squad out there.
Think about this, LSU fans. Let's think about this. More than half of the Alabama offensive team is 18 or 19 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, do the odds makers, when I watched the game at my brother's house, and at the half it's 13-0, and in fact, with about 2 minutes to go in the first half, it's 6-0. The over-under last night was 45.5. At halftime, it's Georgia 13, Alabama 0. And he said, boy, that over-under bet's looking pretty good right now. And I said, there's a long way to go, buddy.
I thought I was doomed after the first half.
No,
I thought there's no way they're getting there.
Halfway through the fourth quarter, I'm thinking they're going to overtime, and that's where they hit the over-under. Over-under was 45.5, 49. Those guys, if you don't think those Vegas boys know exactly what they're doing.
Yep.
Okay,
Here's what I had yesterday for my score. If you want to know how I predicted the game would go, I wrote it down yesterday.
Yes, so did we.
Alabama 27, Georgia 17. Who's much closer? Who's closer than that?
Who in the room said that the key to the game would be Alabama quarterback Jalen Hurts, who was going to rush for more than 100 yards?
Going out of the game. Didn't we say going out of the game?
And pass for more than 200.
He rushed for close to 100.
He was nowhere near 100.
He had 75 or something like that. Yeah.
He was benched.
Okay,
that seemed...
I didn't say Jalen Hurts. I said the Alabama quarterback would run for 100 and pass for 200.
No. You can try to pawn that off on the little kids that weren't paying attention.
He got the cheap seats.
Your Heisman winning performance got benched for a freshman.
He got benched.
So let me ask you. Did you watch the game?
Of course I did.
So you didn't highlight the game.
I watched the game. I watched it in delay.
You didn't NASCAR the game.
I watched it where I didn't have to see the commercials.
But you didn't NASCAR the game.
No, I didn't NASCAR
super fast forward to a play that
No.
So you got all the tension, all the texture, all the intensity.
Oh, yeah.
And all the pressure that those young men must have been under.
It was yummy. It really was.
It was an awesome game.
It was an awesome football game. It was everything I hoped for, everything I was wanting, and Alabama won it, which I was happy to see. What I want to see now is, I know this is not going to happen.
Pardon me. Why were you happy to see Alabama win?
SEC West. That's where we land. That's where my
heart lands. Okay, so you literally break it down. Not only do you
we could have won.
Not only do you want SEC teams to win.
We beat Auburn. Auburn beat Alabama.
So
we could be number one.
LSU is what? Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the pending hiring of a new offensive coordinator also.
Yeah.
The guy they fired earlier.
Right. Is he going somewhere?
No, I'm talking about Ensminger.
Oh, yeah, Ensminger.
Okay, Ensminger originally, when Coach O took over, he made him offensive coordinator. Then they demoted him when they hired Canada. Now so evidently the job that he did wasn't satisfactory to any number of people.
Well, he only did it for a hot minute.
Okay, but evidently the job he did in that 4 or 5 games didn't impress anybody. And
well, they wanted a big name, whatever.
So the job he didn't impress anybody. Look, I'm not saying the guy didn't know football. All I'm saying is what I had said all along. The big names out there, the up-and-coming or established offensive coordinator minds are looking at the situation at LSU, and they're saying, that head coach doesn't hire his staff. Why would I go there? Why would I go there and buy into a Coach O system or bring my system in if my employment is at nothing more than the pleasure of the athletic director, who is
I
a
know.
little bit moody.
I know. You do owe me lunch, by the way.
I think he should get out of lunch just because of your so bad of a. By the way, the stats for Jalen Hurts last night.
Yeah.
He was, 8 for 13?
Hold on. Passing, he was 3 for 8 for 21 yards with a 37.5% completion rate.
That's Pro
and
Bowl
he ran,
material.
6 attempts, 47 yards.
Yeah.
And most of those came on one 31-yard run where he
Yeah.
just happened to break.
Okay. Their quarterback's going to run for 100.
I don't think that was what you said.
It wasn't.
I didn't say that?
That's all right.
My bad. Oh, Lord. We had a big morning this morning. We're going to talk flu. And do you know who we have after 7 o'clock?
Yes, former Mayor Keith Hightower.
Lots of
So
serious allegations.
allegations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair word.
Yeah.
In a recent Times article, basically is now you tell me, I'm going to say 2 words, and you tell me, you say, Robert, that is wrong. That is not fair. That is over the line.
Okay.
But would I be correct in saying that the Times article and other things written about the former mayor's involvement in what has turned into the water department scandal,
Watergate.
they embrace that,
Water meter gate.
was the Times article accusing former Mayor Hightower of influence peddling. Is that too strong a term?
They were raising the suspicion, the umbrella suspicion of influence peddling, and suggesting that he was in on getting some sort of kickback, if it were.
Well, wasn't it the guy from Manchac, though? Wasn't it? What was his name?
Justin Haydell?
Yes. Didn't he, evidently in a deposition, say that stuff was on the table? Didn't he make that statement?
He
in
did.
a legal deposition.
He did.
And that was basically the cornerstone, I think, of the Times article, and a couple of other things that have been written by a couple of local news hounds.
Yeah, and we caught up with the former mayor, and we asked him all the tough questions.
So that's coming up at 10 past 7 o'clock this morning. 19 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time. Right now, Ruben on Keel.
Everything's still running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Linwood Avenue near Burt Coons Industrial Loop due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Plenty of clouds and a high of 55 today, then cloudy with areas of fog tonight, low 47, milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Are you putting your retirement savings in a 401k, IRA,
Twenty-one past 6 o'clock, Keel Sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher.
1017, 101, who was up late? 1017 FM, 710 KEEL, the KEEL app from Office Furniture Source, a free download. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So there were two interesting, one sort of big story that you have in the news this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And on one hand, I was encouraged, and then as you completed the story, I thought, nah, it was too good to be true.
Yeah.
I
know what it is.
What's that?
The governor.
Okay, so on one hand,
get rid of all these boards and commissions.
As we rapidly, like Thelma, we are the state of Thelma and Louise, rapidly approaching the fiscal cliff.
Cliff.
I love it when you guys do that. So on one hand, the governor says there's too much regulation. We, as a state, we are hindering small business.
Yeah.
We are costing them. We are costing us. It's just not right. Somebody wants to do a startup.
Who has told you we don't need a Nutria board?
They don't need to jump through all these state-regulated agencies and hoops. And I heard that.
Crawfish Mating Commission?
And I thought, this is an awesome idea. John Bell woke up one morning and he sees that an unregulated or certainly less regulated economy will certainly help the state of Louisiana.
Yeah.
And then he turns around in the next breath and hits business owners between the eyes with the biggest, most onerous regulation you could possibly do.
He gives them a man hug to start.
And then
he hits him in the head with a board.
And it's not even in the head, but I know what you mean.
Minimum wage increase. He says we got to go beyond $7.25 an hour.
Every place, and Seattle is what comes to mind. I mean, if you go to Seattle, literally there was it in the Seattle airport? Was it somewhere else? There was a picture of a McDonald's, and 2 people work there. All the rest is you walk in and
automated stuff, yeah.
Automated. And then somebody and they put it in a bag and hand it to you.
Yeah.
An increased minimum wage costs jobs. Look, we can.
And it increases prices.
Yes, of course.
You know, who's going to pay for that?
How many times have we talked about, if you want to save local jobs, if you want to really help the local economy, when you go to Kroger, don't use self-checkout, because you know they're waiting for the tipping point.
But wait a minute. You and I argue about this. I'm with you on that. But when I go to Kroger or Albertsons or Brookshire's
what
or
you're
wherever,
saying is
hang on, let me finish.
Your
Your clerk better be good to me, better be nice to me, better be kind, and better not be a witch with a bee on it.
Or I, Erin McCarty, will see that you get fired and that your job, not only for you, but for anyone in the future, disappears.
I want people in public service to serve the public.
I understand that.
Do your freaking job.
But what I'm saying to you is, so what you're saying to these people in these service economy jobs is, if you don't do the job right, I will do my part to not only see you fired.
I'm self-checking.
I not only, you're saying, will do my part to be sure that you are fired.
You don't deserve the job.
But I will also see to it that your job is eliminated for anyone after you. Because every time you go to self-checkout, every time you do it yourself.
Right.
They are whatever company, whatever corporation, whatever store it happens to be. They are waiting for that tipping point.
Yeah.
Where you've got like the 2 or 3 self-checkout aisles. Well, with every little click, every little quota that they meet, there's one more aisle with a person working there that is eliminated.
Yeah.
And that is, in effect, what an increased minimum wage in every place all across America where they go to $15 an hour minimum wage, it just costs jobs. And the tragedy is it costs entry-level jobs so that kids, specifically minority kids, don't get summer jobs, don't get fall jobs like they could have if they want to pay for their own school.
Right.
It creates, what's it called? Learned dependence. There's nothing for you out there, kid. You gotta just borrow all the money to go to school, or stay home and go to University of Phoenix.
I just tell people all the time, ABC, always be kind.
29 past 8 o'clock, 1017 FM. Can we do self-service news in a couple of seconds?
I hope so.
29
Jeez.
past 6. That was pretty awesome. You do know how awesome that was.
Thanks.
That's okay. 29 past 6. Here's Ruben.
I-20 eastbound's got to clear all the way to Monroe right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 southbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Follow the world's best.
An article in USA Today. Hang on a minute. Beep, beep, beep. An article in USA Today stoking fears we could be facing a global
From 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So in the 2020 election, we've got Trump against Oprah.
That's what it looks like.
That'll be kind of interesting, which is really Trump against Hillary, except she gives a better speech. I'm being totally serious.
I don't know. I like Oprah's speech.
It was okay. Yes, you're right.
I don't like Hillary's speech.
It was a great speech. The problem is only in Hollywood do they pat themselves on the back for openly coming out against rape and sexual assault. Aren't we awesome? We don't believe in rape anymore. We're finally raising our hands and saying, me too, no more, time's up.
Mm-hmm.
How many people? And look, I see, and I'll explain this in just a second. I see why, for a lot of years, especially from women, there was a silence. But the fact there was a silence means that a lot of people knew, both men and women, powerful men and powerful women who didn't say a word.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if you're one of the little people in that equation, I'm not going to say I get selling your soul, or in this case, your body for a role in a movie. But it's kind of like, and Matt and I were talking about this one day, and I said, if you're a pizza shop owner,
sure,
in whatever big city it happens to be,
mm-hmm.
and every couple of weeks you have to give the local mobster a couple $100 to quote unquote protect your store
and a couple of pies,
from burning down or whatever the threat happens to be. You can say in the end, well, why didn't you go to because you know that no one will listen to you.
Yep.
You know that, well, first of all, it'll cost you your store. It could cost you a family member or at least a couple of thumbs.
Yep.
B, the police are probably on the take, i.e., it is nothing. That's the situation that was in Hollywood.
Yep.
You know that every actress who was sexually harassed over X amount of time, she could go to whatever newspaper or they're either not going to publish it or they're just not going to listen.
Right.
Because the people in charge, Charlie Rose, Matt Lauer, tell whoever you want, I'm Matt Lauer. I make $25 million a year. I'm Charlie Rose. They may believe you, but they're going to fire you because I am the shield.
Yeah.
That's an NFL reference. But you get the point. I understand why there was, to some degree, silence through all those years.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, why was Meryl Streep? And Meryl Streep has all but admitted, yeah, I knew, and I just didn't say anything. But then she sort of deflects and asks questions of the interviewer.
Right.
So, like I said, yeah, Oprah gave a hell of a speech. Look what happened last time we elected somebody who gave a hell of a speech. Uh-oh. The point being that only in Hollywood would they aggrandize themselves and put themselves on we are against rape. We are. Oh, you mean like the rest of the decent world? How brave of you all.
But if your choice is Hillary or Oprah, I'm still voting Oprah.
Well, yeah, if the two are running against each other. But
exactly.
Oprah, look, you think there's a lot. She is without knowing any of her policies, I can't imagine she's going to be a small government Republican.
No, she won't be.
No, she'll be a radical leftist. 639, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. You're waving at me frantically.
Dr. Frank Welch with DHH talking the flu. We'll have that coming up next.
639, I think I said that. Keel traffic. Ruben's right here.
It is once again the best time of day to get where you're going because everything is all clear for your early morning drive to work or school. But look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Jewella Avenue between Mansfield Road and Hollywood Avenue due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Just looking at the numbers within Louisiana and across the rest of the nation, there is lots and lots.
.1017 FM, 710 KEEL. KEEL app, a free download. It's presented by Office Furniture Source. Okay, the feller's name is Dr. Frank Welch. He is the Immunization Medical Director for the Louisiana Office of Health and Human Services, and we talked to him yesterday. If you missed this, the guy's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And we started off because you had been talking for a couple of days about, man, everybody I know has the flu.
Yeah.
Everybody's sneezing and coughing, and then there's different kinds of flus, and that's kind of where we started off with Dr. Frank, was everybody we know has the flu.
Right.
Is it... Yes, epidemic might be too strong a word, but it is pretty bad, right?
Just looking at the numbers within Louisiana and across the rest of the nation, there is lots and lots of flu out there. And to be honest with you, in the 20 years I've done this, I've never seen it this high in Louisiana. So it's really terrible.
What's the cause? Why this year all of a sudden?
So you know what? The flu changes itself every single year, and there's multiple strains going around. And some years we're lucky with light flu seasons, and other years it's really, really bad. We really don't know, especially don't know why Louisiana started out in early December. We really don't get high flu levels typically until mid to late February. We started out of the blocks, we've led the country, and we're still leading the country. What I mean by that is almost 1 in 10 visits to a doctor, hospital, or clinic in Louisiana is for flu-like illness. So it's really bad. I don't know why.
I'm looking at your charts online. We'll put them up at keelnews.com. And it shows, like, for type A, type B flu, are there two separate strains that we're really concerned about? It looks like the type A is really the one that's troublesome.
That is exactly right. So there's two kinds of flu, A and B. The A kind is more serious. It makes people sicker, it keeps people sicker longer, and it tends to aggravate those other problems like asthma or heart disease. So we do have a B strain and actually 2 A strains going around in Louisiana. So it's not just one culprit, it's 3.
But, Doc, I got the shot. Mm-hmm. In fact, I got a double dose because I'm really, really, really old. Are you telling me and everybody who got the shot that the shot didn't help? Or is this just...
No.
Go ahead, finish my thought.
I think that's a great question, though. Oftentimes, the flu shot is about 60 to 80% effective. And what that means is for a lot of people who got the shot, they won't get the flu. But for some people who still get the flu, it'll be less. Now, unfortunately, what they're suggesting now is that one of those components, one of the A's that we talked about is more serious. The effectiveness is probably only about 25 to 30%. But what I keep telling people is, just because you get one strain of the flu doesn't protect you against one of the others. And the flu shot probably will make it so even if you do get the flu, it'll be less severe than if you hadn't gotten the shot.
I'm looking at another chart. You're disturbing me, Doc, this morning. This is the geographic distribution. We're in Region 7. We're red. We're very high. And several areas in the state are, but particularly Shreveport-Bossier, a lot of cases.
I got to tell you, I have never seen it this high in early January. And I got to tell you, I've rarely seen it red in Louisiana. Typically, we get to the dark green, but it is really, really serious. Again, 1 in 10 people. So I really want to encourage people, if you haven't gotten the flu shot, go get it. And
it's not too late.
Even if you've had the flu, it's not too late. Even if you've had the flu, it also protects you against other strains of the flu that are going around that you haven't had. Believe it or not, you can get one kind of flu in December and a different kind of flu in February.
Oh.
There's no saying you can't.
So I had read a couple of...
Really...
I'm sorry, finish up. I apologize.
Yeah, what I want to tell people is if you do get sick or you think you have the flu, the best thing you can do is leave school or work or wherever you're at and go home. The next thing I want you to do is call your doctor. There are antiviral medicines that can help minimize the effects of the flu and minimize the spread of the flu. So go home, stay alone, call your doctor, get an antiviral medicine. And a good rule of thumb is make sure you haven't had a fever for 24 hours and then you're not contagious anymore. And that usually takes 3 to 6 days for most people. Then if you're not sick, make sure you wash your hands, cover your cough, and stay away from sick people.
See, that was going to be sort of a two-part question. One, when is someone no longer contagious? And you answered that when their fever breaks. But sort of part B of that, what can I do? What can Erin do? What can anybody listening do to avoid getting the flu? Or is it just airborne and there's just nothing, no precaution you can take?
No. So the flu typically is caught from someone nearby. So that recommendation I have for sick people to stay home is really going to help if people heed that. If they don't go to school, if they don't go to work, if they don't go to church, staying home is the best way not to spread the flu to other people. The second thing is the most common way to get the flu is when you touch your hand to your face, meaning your mouth, your nose, or your eyes. So just make sure if you are healthy and want to stay healthy, you stay away from sick people and wash your hands a lot. Then when you're at work, just make sure that that you wash frequently used surfaces like doorknobs and telephones frequently. That can help as well.
Dr. Frank Welch, I spoke with someone Saturday on the phone who had the flu.
No, you can't get it over the phone.
I know that.
Phew, okay.
But I did wash my hands after talking to him, but he sounded really sick. I mean, this is not somebody that gets sick very often. It sounds like it's pretty debilitating. And all he told me was, he goes, "Can you please call me back Tuesday or Wednesday?" It's bad, huh?
That particular A strain that you're talking about, one of the A strains that we have going around is the old H1N1. You guys remember from 2009, the swine flu?
Oh, yeah.
That's still floating around. But this H3N2, which is the other A strain, really tends to hit people hard. And the way you can tell the difference between the flu and just a cold, which is also going around all over the place, is you're kind of okay today, and then within hours, you have severe pains in your legs, in your back, muscle aches, you have a headache, your eyes are hurting, and you feel like, oh, I just have to lay down. That's the flu. That's the one you want to go home and stay away from other people. And then again, just like you mentioned, this one isn't a 24-hour bug. This tends to keep people sick for 3 to 5 to 6 days. And so, just like you mentioned with your friend, it is serious and it's really debilitating. Make sure you stay at home and wait 24 hours after your fever broke, and that's a good indication you're not contagious anymore.
So if you've never seen the flu this bad this early, does this mean you anticipate in February, maybe into March, it being even worse, that we haven't even seen the peak, the apogee yet?
I'm telling you what I'm going to hope. How about this? The flu spreads from person to person. And typically, once someone has had a particular type of the flu, they can't get it again. They're immune. So I'm hoping, although we started out of the blocks hot and fast, I'm hoping enough people are immune, enough people get the shot, and enough people heed that warning to stay home when they're sick, that I'm hoping we drop off early. That's my hope. Now, it is possible that we stay this bad, and we stay this bad for a month or so. But again, it spreads from person to person. If we follow those kindergarten rules, I'm really hopeful it's going to drop off and we're going to decline soon.
I'm just going to go get the flu shot weekly, Doc.
Fortunately, you only need one. Believe it or not, the flu shot in a healthy person stays good 6 to 9 months. So You just have to get it once. But again, you still can get the flu, so I still want you to follow those simple rules.
It is 6:51. KEEL traffic update. Ruben's right here.
I-20 eastbound's got it clear all the way to Monroe right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 southbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
It is 6:53, time for KEEL Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Tua Tagovailoa connected with Devontae Smith for a 41-yard touchdown in overtime to win the college football national championship for Alabama last night in Atlanta. The true freshman combo allowed the Crimson Tide to complete a comeback from a 20-7 third-quarter deficit to knock off Georgia in the All-SEC title game 26-23. Tagovailoa replaced Alabama starter Jalen Hurts to start the third quarter after the two-year starter was ineffective in the first half that finished with Georgia on top 13-0. The flying Hawaiian immediately provided a spark for the Tide, leading his crew downfield for their first score, a 6-yard touchdown toss to Henry Ruggs III to make it 13-7. Georgia's rookie quarterback, Jake Fromm, answered 2 minutes later, firing a dart down the sideline to Mecole Hardman, who escaped the tackle and raced down the sideline for an 80-yard score to reestablish a 13-point lead for the Dogs. Both quarterbacks threw ill-advised interceptions on back-to-back plays, with the Tide turning Fromm's miscue into an Andy Papanastis field goal to make it 20-10. The Bama kicker drilled a 30-yarder in the fourth quarter to bring Bama back within 7. Tagovailoa delivered a hope and prayer miracle on fourth down to tie the game, throwing the ball in the direction of 3 receivers and a handful of Georgia defenders in the back of the end zone, with Tide receiver Calvin Ridley hauling in the pass to tie things up 20-all. The Tide had a chance to win the game at the end of the regulation, but Papanastis badly hooked a 37-yard attempt to send the game to OT. In the extra session, Alabama sacked Fromm on third down, forcing Rodrigo Blankenship to hit a 51-yard field goal to give Georgia a 23-20 lead. Georgia sacked Tagovailoa on the first down for a 16-yard loss, but on 2nd and 26 from the 41, the rookie delivered the game winner to the Amite native Devontae Smith for the win. Nick Saban's 6th as a head coach, 5 with Alabama. And also today, it's expected that LSU will announce Steve Ensminger as their new offensive coordinator. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.656, Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL Times newspaper headline from Sunday morning. Former Shreveport mayor assisted plaintiffs in water billing events. Talk with former Mayor Keith Hightower. That's who the headline is referring
Oh, yeah.
to. Mr. Keith chats with us just after 7 o'clock about that Times article. 6:56, here's Rush on KEEL.
On January 1st, California enacted the so-called California Values Act. It's now illegal for California state government employees to fully cooperate with federal immigration agents. There are limits on where federal agents can go while enforcing federal law. If they're attempting to detain illegal immigrants, federal agents are not allowed in California schools, churches, hospitals, or courthouses. Last week, California also declared itself above national drug laws by legalizing recreational pot in the state. California Democrats are also trying to circumvent the new federal tax reform law, which no longer allows deductions for state and local taxes over $10,000. A proposal by the state Senate leader would let rich Californians consider state and local taxes as charitable donations, which makes them fully deductible. In other words, Democrats want to make federal tax evasion legal in California. And it's all being greeted with glee and admiration by liberals everywhere. They view California Democrats as leading the resistance against Donald Trump and the Republicans in Congress. Now, it's not the first time we've seen this kind of arrogant, brazen lawlessness from the Democrat Party. Decades ago, Democrat segregationists also declared they were above federal law. Eventually, they lost. The rule of law prevailed. Did California Democrats clear all of this with Oprah?
What happened? You used to go hours without visiting the bathroom. Now it seems like you're constantly getting up to pee, and you're even getting up at night to go. This is not okay. Listen, the makers of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 prostate formula, are introducing a new wonder pill, Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced, with 3 key ingredients that are great for your prostate. It's like taking 3 prostate supplements in one. To celebrate, we're sending free bottles to men who want to cut down on bathroom trips. Yes, your first 30-day supply is free. Pay shipping and handling. Call 1-800-257-5387. Early research suggests that an ingredient in P3 Advanced may help support a normal prostate size. Combine that with a reduction in urges to pee, and you have a formula you'd be crazy not to try. Get P3 Advanced free. Call 1-800-257-5387. 1-800-257-5387. 1-800-257-5387.
The intersection at Mansfield Road and Midway Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on ART Parkway near Diamond Jack Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
6:59, here's your KEEL forecast. Kind of cloudy, not much of a chance of rain today. Highs in the low to middle 50s. Right now, 46 at KEEL, 7 o'clock.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
It is 7:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel from the Erin McCarty News Center. I'm not joking. It has walls, unlike America. Miss Erin has news up next.
Crime numbers down in Caddo Parish. We'll talk about that, while flu case numbers are up, and the governor wants minimum wage to go up.
Times headline from Sunday, former Shreveport mayor assisted plaintiffs in water billing events. Former Mayor Keith Hightower, that's to whom that refers, chats with us about that article and other stuff in less than 10 minutes. Fletcher in sports. Oh, yeah, we got to talk college football, too. Fletcher in sports, traffic and weather. It's all here this hour, coming up on Keel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A 7-year-old girl recovering after being shot in the leg in Shreveport. The girl was taken to University Health in a private vehicle. The shooting happened at a home on Merwin Street. Officers believe a 14-year-old inside the home shot the girl, but at this point they don't know why. Crime numbers down in Caddo Parish. According to stats from the sheriff's end-of-year report, overall crime down 3%. The only crimes that were up last year were shoplifting and general theft. The sheriff says he's proud of the hard work done by his deputies and citizens. Now, the stats do not include the city of Shreveport or other local areas with their own police departments. Flu cases in Louisiana are skyrocketing, and in some instances, it's pretty nasty.
This tends to keep people sick for 3 to 5 to 6 days. And so, just like you mentioned with your friend, it is serious and it's really debilitating. Make sure you stay at home and wait 24 hours after your fever broke, and that's a good indication you're not contagious anymore.
Dr. Frank Welch with DHH telling KEEL News, be sure to wash your hands regularly and stay away from sick people. Due to harsh freezing temps last week, dozens of water mains burst in Shreveport. Barbara Featherston from the Water and Sewer Department says crews had to repair nearly 60 water mains over 3 days. Despite the increase in workload, Featherston says the repairs were all budgeted for by her department, and there will be no increases in anyone's monthly water or sewer bill. The governor has several items he would like to accomplish during the 2018 regular session in March. Edwards says he feels there's an overabundance of licensing boards, 71 of them, and most need to be eliminated. By doing so, he says it would help small businesses trying to start up in Louisiana.
I think we're the only state that licenses florists. I think we ought to take a look at that. That's another thing we can do for small business people, not just on florists, but across the board.
Edwards will also ask lawmakers to increase the minimum wage. 18 states increased minimum wages January 1st. Edwards says $7.25 an hour is not enough for hard-working Louisiana families. The Shreveport Council to vote on public drinking in our community. Matt Parker with that.
The Shreveport City Council is expected to vote today on a bill that would allow public drinking at sidewalk cafes as well as bars and restaurants with patio seating. The new ordinance would also speed up the process for event planners and promoters who want to hold outdoor events with public alcohol consumption. The council meeting will start at 3 p.m. this afternoon. For 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
An article in USA Today stoking fears we could be facing a global chocolate shortage by 2050. The article cites a study discussing how Mars Company is investing $1 billion into sustainability projects. Chairman and CEO of Elmer's Chocolate, Rob Nelson, says the headline was a little bit off.
That I think that the original article, the title was a little bit misleading.
The study cited research that shows a combination of surging demand from formerly third world countries combining climate change to create a rough environment for chocolate lovers. After coming from behind to win their 5th title in 9 seasons, Alabama Tide head coach Nick Saban says his team kept last year's loss to Clemson in mind when going into the game against Georgia.
One of the things that we said last year when we lost on the last play of the game was, don't waste the failing. And I think the resiliency that this team showed sort of proved that they didn't waste that.
Tua Tagovailoa, the freshman quarterback for the Tide, came into the game after Jalen Hurts, the starting quarterback, was pulled. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Just looking at the numbers.
FM 7.
Former Mayor Keith Hightower, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
Nine past 7 o'clock. It's 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Traffic. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Mansfield Road and Midway Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on ART Parkway near Diamond Jack Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.7 FM, 710 KEEL, and the KEEL app. It's a free download. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty joining us for a bit is former Mayor Keith Hightower. Mr. Keith, how are you this morning? Thank you for taking time for us.
Good, Robert. How are you?
Well, I'm looking at a recent Times headline, former Shreveport mayor assisted plaintiffs in water billing events. That is causing a bit of an uproar around town this morning. Where shall we begin with this, Miss Erin?
You gave them your water bill. You're suspected of possibly taking part of the kickbacks. Keith, what's going on with all this? Can you help us unravel it?
First of all, yeah, I was happy to help. To help the citizens get their water bills corrected and right. I mean, every 30 days, all of us get a water bill, and over the past several years, they've been wrong. And I don't know about you, but I want to feel confident in the bill that I get. And when the mayor says that she can't assure the citizens that the bills are accurate, something has to be done. So did I give them a water bill? Absolutely I did, and I hope they get to the bottom of it.
Were you in line to get any of the money from what some would call a finder's fee?
That's absolutely a fabrication to sell newspapers, I guess. No, absolutely not. Never talked about that. Never involved in that. No, absolutely not.
According to the Times article, Justin Haydell from Manchac, I believe, says he was to get 30% of the monies involved. Attorney Charles Grubb, 25%, the remaining 45% split among Pernice, Wainwright, and Hightower, meaning Scott Pernice and Michael Wainwright. You say that's just totally off the mark. You say that ain't what happened at all.
If it was, I never knew about it. So, no, I didn't know I was in line to get any kind of any payments for doing what I think is the right thing to do. No.
But, Keith, we're talking to former Mayor Keith Hightower. You did write an email, according to the Times article. It says from Keith Hightower, I'm not sure to who.
That's correct.
With regard to the revenue enhancement contract, telling them it should be no longer than 3 years. Why were you even involved? Why are you telling them how to negotiate this with the city?
They came to me and asked. And again, I get a water bill every 30 days. And apparently, the city doesn't want to do anything to correct it. And and even currently, it's been almost 2 years, and the water bills are still wrong. And the mayor admits they're wrong. I just can't understand, why they can't be corrected. There was going to be an audit done to see if what Pernice and Wainwright were saying was true in in October of 16. I'm sorry, and that still hadn't been started. As from what I'm being told, it hadn't been started, and it takes a year to do it. So I guess in 2019, after we've all received a bill every 30 days that's wrong, it may be corrected. I don't know. That's the real story, is why aren't the bills fixed?
Just to simplify, in my mind and everybody, you have a long-standing relationship with both Mr. Wainwright and Mr. Pernice. I think that's fair. I beg your pardon?
A lifetime, yeah.
They approached you and said, Mr. Keith, we've known you a long time. You were the mayor. We think you can help us with the city's problem. Is that basically it?
They came to me and told me, they asked me for my water bill. I gave it to them. They told me that they had discovered a pattern of wrong billing and were going to approach the city. What did I think the best way to do that was? I actually hooked them up with Manchac. Told him that, he was an expert. In my years at City Hall, he was an expert in the water and sewer business, and he'd be a great person to talk to.
But, Keith, here's my question. If I find out the city is underbilling and they're not charging me the right thing, I call them and say, hey, you're not charging the right thing. I don't ask them to give me a kickback or a piece of it before I want to share the information. That's where I have a problem with this. Why were they wanting this revenue enhancement? Why weren't they being good citizens and saying, hey, you got a billing error, fix it?
Well, you need to ask them about that. That's their deal. I'm not getting anything from it, never was getting anything from it. So, but I want my water bill corrected, I think, like the rest of the citizens do.
Ms.
And we have $10 million in water meters purchased that aren't being used. Something's wrong down there, and it needs to be corrected. And when it's brought to their attention, it should be corrected, and it hasn't been to date that I'm aware of.
Ms. Talama, who wrote the article for the Times, did she approach you at all, or to the best of your knowledge, Wainwright or Pernice about to comment in her article?
Yeah, she called me.
And you told her basically what you're telling us?
Yes.
Do you feel like she expressed that you got a fair shake in the article?
No, I don't. Not really.
What could you have done differently in all of this? What should you, as a former mayor, should have done differently?
I'm not sure I should have done anything differently. I mean, those guys approached the city, and in my mind, if I were sitting up there, I would have taken it seriously and tried to do something. If there were a problem, I would have tried to remedy it, by whatever means necessary. And that obviously hadn't happened.
As you're
all water bills that are incorrect this month.
As you're looking at the Times article, as you're looking at some of the other things that have been written in the aftermath of that article, are you looking at it and looking at some of the things that are you kind of baffled by it all?
I don't know that I'm baffled by it all. I mean, you can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time. And, there's probably someone out there that's happy to be paying more on their water bill than they should. I don't know. All I want is, like I said, I was happy to help and hopefully straighten out the water billing debacle at City Hall. And, so far it hadn't seemed to help.
Are you a little mystified about why they were asking for a piece of the action? I mean, have you asked them about that? Did that cause this all to blow up?
I don't think it's unusual, to be honest with you. I mean, the people approached us at City Hall, approach me in business constantly and say, we want to come in and consult, and we think we can save you some money and show you some efficiencies and correct some things that you may not be doing the right way and save your company money. And as a result of that, we want to take, a percentage of your savings. So that's not unusual. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses that do that, and that's what they do for a living, period.
You had said earlier on you have a lifetime relationship with both, I know, Pernisi and Wainwright, that you've been friends for a long time. Do you think has this damaged your relationship with them? Has this strained the relationship?
No. My friends are my friends. I don't back up from that. I think you support friends, and that's what I do. That's why I helped them.
There's in the article in the Times, there's mention of your conversation with Miss Pilkington and a recorded telephone call you made with her. Kind of gets you more deeply embedded into this. Is that something you should not have done?
Oh, I don't know that I should or shouldn't have done it. Sharon had been put on leave, essentially laid off without pay by the city. I felt like apparently looking for a scapegoat in this whole debacle. And I did call her, and I did ask her some questions to try to get to the bottom of it. I'm glad she got her job back. I don't think she'd ever been laid off in the first place.
Do you think that Shreveport at the end of the day would be better served with a privatized water system, privatized water department?
No, I don't think that. I just think that the contracts that we put in place ought to be contracts or contractors that are held accountable for what they're supposed to do. And in this case, it hadn't. I mean, ultimately, they fired the contractor, after months and months and months and months, but still hadn't corrected the problem. So I don't think it's a question of can the people, in the water and sewer department do their job. I personally know a lot of them and know that they're good people and capable, but they have to have the tools and equipment and, the guidance and leadership to do what they're supposed to do.
Former Mayor Keith Hightower, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
21 past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. Ruben's here.
Keeping an eye on some slow-moving traffic on Uri Drive near Southfield Road, and we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you know something we don't, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
7:23, time for KEEL Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Tua Tagovailoa connected with Devontae Smith for a 41-yard touchdown in overtime to win the college football national championship for Alabama last night in Atlanta. The true freshman combo allowed the Crimson Tide to complete a comeback from a 20-7 third-quarter deficit to knock off Georgia in the All-SEC title game 26-23. Tagovailoa replaced Alabama starter Jalen Hurts to start the third quarter after the two-year starter was ineffective in the first half that finished with Georgia on top 13-0. The flying Hawaiian immediately provided a spark for the Tide, leading his crew downfield for their first score, a 6-yard touchdown toss to Henry Ruggs III to make it 13-7. Georgia's rookie quarterback, Jake Fromm, answered 2 minutes later, firing a dart down the sideline to Mecole Hardman, who escaped the tackle and raced down the sideline for an 80-yard score to reestablish a 13-point lead for the Dogs. Both quarterbacks threw ill-advised interceptions on back-to-back plays, with the Tide turning Fromm's miscue into an Andy Papanastis field goal to make it 20-10. The Bama kicker drilled a 30-yarder in the fourth quarter to bring Bama back within 7. Tagovailoa delivered a hope and prayer miracle on fourth down to tie the game, throwing the ball in the direction of 3 receivers and a handful of Georgia defenders in the back of the end zone, with Tide receiver Calvin Ridley hauling in the pass to tie things up 20-all. The Tide had a chance to win the game at the end of the regulation, but Papanastis badly hooked a 37-yard attempt to send the game to OT. In the extra session, Alabama sacked Fromm on third down, forcing Rodrigo Blankenship to hit a 51-yard field goal to give Georgia a 23-20 lead. Georgia sacked Tagovailoa on the first down for a 16-yard loss, but on 2nd and 26 from the 41, the rookie delivered the game winner to the Amite native Devontae Smith for the win. Nick Saban's 6th as a head coach, 5 with Alabama. And also today, it's expected that LSU will announce Steve Ensminger as their new offensive coordinator. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-six past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin, are you waving again down there?
Yeah, just want to tell you, if in case you missed our interview we just aired with Keith Hightower, the former mayor, on those allegations in the Watergate billing scandal, they're online, keelnews.com.
Was the Times headline Sunday, former Shreveport mayor assisted plaintiffs in water billing events.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason that Messrs. Pernice and Wainwright were plaintiffs, I'm not, correct me if my memory fails me, but at some point, was it Mayor Tyler, after they were approached with the water billing information by Pernice and Wainwright,
Mm-hmm.
was it Mayor Tyler, was it Brian Crawford, or both who said we will not be extorted?
I believe it was Brian Crawford. It may have been the mayor. But the problem is that you had William Bradford, the city attorney, who met with Charles Grubb, who was also working with the Pernice. It's a long, convoluted story. Charles Grubb was a longtime city attorney.
Yeah.
So he has a long-standing reputation of doing lots of great things. Wait, let me finish my point, because you're missing my point. Hang on.
Okay.
He sat down with William Bradford, the new city attorney, really young. You know, he's new to this work. And William Bradford signed an agreement with Grubb, and I'm not sure he fully understood or knew what he was signing. And that is part of the genesis of the lawsuit. You signed this agreement. You promised to pay us these fees or whatever it was. Well, the mayor said William Bradford did not have the authority to sign that agreement on behalf of the city.
What is the city's beef with Pernice and Wainwright? And why are there these allegations of all this behind the scenes? Look, here's
can I be blunt?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the rub, and I may be getting it very wrong, and I don't know, but I've talked to a lot of people with regard to this. The city leaders, current city leaders, think that some former city leaders or former city officials gave out windfalls of documents, just mass blanketed water billing information, inside information to the Pernice Wainwright camp via Manchac or whoever, and that resulted in the Pernice Wainwright camp uncovering this massive water underbilling issue with City Hall.
To $1 million.
Right. And then the Wainwright Pernice camp through Manchac thought, if we can show the city this glaring error,
they'll hire us.
They'll give us a piece of the action.
See, here was my question, okay? Pardon me. It's like here's where I get a little confused.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a radio station consultant and I come into this building to meet with somebody and I see just the problems I see here are obvious and overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And I say to the operations manager or the general manager, listen, you guys have got some serious problems here.
Sure.
And I'll tell you what they are if you pay me, because that's my job. And our operations manager and general manager say, well, what are those problems? And I respond, look, I don't work for free. It's my job to fix these problems. It's not my job for free to tell you what your problems are.
Well, that's the problem. This is not the Pernice Wainwright job. That's not what they do for a living, is uncover water billing errors. That's not what they do. Pernice discovered the water billing error on his bill, supposedly, and then went digging further.
So at the end of the day, so to speak, the real question is, where did all the info come from? How did they get it?
That's the big question.
29
Was there inside help? Who did it?
29 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Miss Erin has local news up next right now. Traffic time.
Keeping an eye on some slow-moving traffic on North Market near North Common Street. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you know something we don't, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Crime down in Caddo Parish. According to numbers from the sheriff's end-of-year report, overall crime down 3%. The only crimes that were up in 2017 were shoplifting and general theft. Sheriff Steve Prater says he's proud of the hard work done by his deputies and citizens. Now, the stats do not include the city of Shreveport or other local areas with their own police departments. Busted pipes won't impact your bottom line. Matt Parker explains.
Due to harsh freezing temperatures last week, dozens of water mains busted in Shreveport. Barbara Featherston from the Water and Sewage Department says crews had to repair nearly 60 water mains over 3 days. Despite the increase in workload, Featherston says that the repairs were all budgeted for by her department, and there will be no increases to anyone's monthly water or sewage bill. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Shreveport Council set to vote today on a measure that would allow public drinking at sidewalk cafes, as well as bars and restaurants with patio seating. The new ordinance would also speed up the process for event planners and promoters who want to hold outdoor events with public alcohol consumption. The council meeting kicks off at 3 this afternoon. Governor John Bel Edwards has several items he would like to accomplish during the regular legislative session when it convenes March 12th. Edwards will once again ask lawmakers to increase the minimum wage. He says he'll also seek legislative support to close the gender pay gap that exists in private businesses.
Which is the worst in the country, right here in Louisiana. Something that ought to offend everybody sitting here between what we pay men and women when they have similar qualifications doing the same job.
No word yet on whether or not the governor will call lawmakers in for a special session next month. A young child recovering after being shot in the leg in Shreveport. The 7-year-old girl was taken to University Health in a private car. Not much information is known, but police do believe a 14-year-old inside the home on Merwin Street shot the child. They don't yet know why. Flu cases in Louisiana are near record numbers. Dr. Frank Welch with DHH says the type A strain is pretty harsh this year.
You're kind of okay today, and then within hours, you have severe pains in your legs, in your back, muscle aches. You have a headache, your eyes are hurting, and you feel like, oh, I just have to lay down. That's the flu. That's the one you want to go home and stay away from other people.
Dr. Welch says be sure to wash your hands frequently and stay away from sick folks. After a heartbreaking loss to Alabama in overtime for the national championship, Georgia head coach Kirby Smart says the most painful thing is losing his seniors.
You know, I can't say enough about the remarkable senior class. They meant more to Georgia than yards. A lot of heart and soul, a lot of fire, but in overtime we didn't finish when we had to, and Alabama did.
The Bulldogs lose 31 seniors this year, including Sony Michel and Nick Chubb. Saints coach Sean Payton's dance moves following Sunday's playoff win over Carolina have made the rounds on social media. Rookie running back Alvin Kamara filmed Payton and the rest of the team getting down in the locker room. Now, when Payton spoke with reporters, he was back to business, getting the team ready for the matchup with the Vikings. The two met in the regular season opener. Minnesota won it 29-19. Payton says there are many reasons why the Vikings finished with the second-best record in the NFC.
They're tops in most categories defensively. You know, I think total defense, scoring defense, second rush, second pass. Offensively, they found great balance. So it's a different type team you're preparing for now, and we're spending a lot of time, we will all week, on the more recent games and, quite honestly, the games throughout the season.
The two teams square off on Sunday. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Planning a funeral involves .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin, 736. Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. What you thinking, Erin wants to know. We had yesterday and reran this morning Dr. Frank Welch. He's from the Health and Human Services. He's like the immunological guy. He talked about the flu, which
Yeah.
everybody around the Arklatex seems to have right now.
Sure. It's nasty, too.
This is what's interesting, because he's he's on the radio with us yesterday, walking through the symptoms and what to look for and how you start to get body aches and fever and headache and nausea, all this other stuff. And by the end of the interview, Erin and I had both talked ourselves into that we have the flu.
I was feeling nauseous.
I was having my backache, my head was. I think I had a fever of
potty.
about 108.
Yeah.
I mean, it was horrible in here.
And somehow you guys have pulled it together to come in this morning. I had best of ready to go. I was ready for an easy day, kick back, eat some Whataburger breakfast.
You know what, guys? Before we move on,
go ahead.
I want to read this from the Shreveport Security Systems text line in case you guys haven't.
Oh, God.
This came into us at about 11 p.m. last night.
Is this football related?
Yes.
Okay, you want to? I tell you what, we're going to go to break. Put your tongue back, roll that tongue up. Looks like a party favor. Let's go to break, and when we come back, you can start the segment.
Wait till you hear this.
With the Erin Uber Alice text. 739, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. It's traffic time. Here's Ruben.
Starting to see some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
.741, Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, cackling at the far end of the Gopher-shaped broadcast table.
I really want you to read this text.
No.
You want me to read it?
Yes, hold on just a second. Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884.
I heard that heavy sigh,
Well,
Matt.
anything that makes you happy usually makes us miserable.
Here's
and
the
I don't
deal.
like to be miserable.
This obviously has to do for.
I love the Keel
someone
listeners.
actually texted this last night
After the game.
after the Alabama
Win.
after the Alabama
Because someone in this room yesterday said Alabama was going to win 27-17.
Yeah, by 10
Alabama
points.
won 26-23.
Okay, that's not even close. You also said
Well, it should have
that-
been 27, but they don't kick an extra point in overtime.
You also said that Jalen Hurts, the
Yeah,
Alabama quarterback.
I said no. I said the Alabama quarterback. I didn't say Jalen Hurts.
Actually, you said Jalen Hurts. You
Yeah,
said,
him and his 28 yards was a Heisman.
You said he was going to pass for 200 yards and run for 100 in a Heisman-like performance,
I said the Alabama quarterbacks were.
and he got benched.
He got benched at the half.
So what does
Here's
this?
the text.
What does this text say?
Guess y'all will be changing your mind on Erin's expert knowledge of football. Yo.
I don't
Let's
understand.
say
What,
yo.
what did you get right?
I got the score almost perfect.
26.
I got Alabama winning. I got the over. You owe me lunch for the over.
Yeah, but see,
The
I got
quarterback play of Alabama was great. Okay, it wasn't Jalen Hurts.
You got to admit, the reason I lost on the over/under is because I got beat in overtime.
No, it would have still been over 42.
No,
without the overtime.
At the end of the game was 20-20. It was 40 at the end of regulation. Over under was 45.5. The reason
You and I had 42.
I still had it in regulation.
Yeah, but overtime counts.
Of course it does.
This is not horseshoes.
That's why I was patting the odds makers on the back, saying those guys. The Las Vegas over under was 45.5. Those guys know their stuff. It was 13-0 at the end of the first half. My brother says to me, "Man, your over/under bet's looking pretty good." I said, "There's a long way to go." Those guys know their business. They're not billionaires because they lose a lot.
Yeah. You owe me lunch. I know that. Alabama won. I told you they'd score 27 points. They scored 26. It would have been 27 if they kicked an extra point in overtime, which they don't.
What do you think about this Nick Saban quote that he told his team after the Clemson loss last year on the final play of the game? Hopefully, we won't waste a failure.
Hopefully we won't waste a failure. I think that motivated his guys. But I liked something you said earlier. I didn't realize this. During the overtime, 6 of the Alabama guys on the field were freshmen.
On the game-winning play.
True freshmen.
Yeah, on the game.
The quarterback, the guy who caught the ball, a couple of the linemen.
Yep.
Alabama's going to be a contender, yo.
Who would have seen that otherwise?
Man.
Who would have thought that,
They are stacked.
When does Alabama ever go 7-5?
And how do you study this Tua guy if you're Georgia? He's never played in any games. How do you know what he's going to bring?
Tua Tagovailoa, the backup quarterback for Alabama, who replaced Jalen Hurts at halftime. And
what a beautiful spirit that kid has. Did you watch the interviews?
Yes, I did. And threw for 3 touchdowns.
He was impressive. But how do you defend against him? You haven't seen him. He's like a surprise secret weapon they tossed in there at the half. You're like, oh, dang, we don't know about this.
Just one more reason that Nick Saban, and maybe now you'll finally admit, is probably the greatest college football coach of all time.
His 6th national title. He's now tied Bear Bryant for 6. And he's got a couple more in him, I think. I really do. But, it makes me happy because it's SEC West winning. Who beat Alabama this year? Their only loss.
That was Auburn.
Who beat Auburn?
UCF.
And LSU.
Oh, yeah.
So LSU could be the national champion. But I do want to see, and I don't think it's going to happen.
It's a leap of logic.
I think Georgia
like
and Alabama should play.
Tweet. Huh?
Georgia and Alabama should have each other on the schedule. I know they don't like to do that. I know they don't like to play the big guys from the East.
Well, they require you to play a certain number of divisional foes.
I understand that. And then you play 1 or 2 out of the division. Yeah. I think Georgia should be on their schedule. I just think they should, because I just want to see them play early on. We'd have never had them here at the end if they'd have played early on.
So, LSU fan, you watch Alabama last night on the game-winning play in overtime.
Wow.
6 freshmen on the field. Okay?
How do you lose that guy behind you?
So my question is, if you're an LSU fan, and Nick Saban is at the top of his game, what hope do you hold for LSU facing Alabama from here on out?
Gee, boy. I don't know. Alabama's going to be strong.
And tell me about this Ensminger guy, Steve Ensminger.
Steve Ensminger was an LSU quarterback back in my day.
Then he was
the quarterback's coach. He was offensive coordinator for like a hot minute.
Well, here's what I read. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was like tight ends or quarterbacks coach. I think he was tight ends coach. And then when Orgeron got the job, Coach O made him his offensive coordinator for about 5 games. So evidently he didn't impress anybody in those 5 games that he should get the job full time. Then they hire Matt Canada, not Orgeron.
It's not that Ensminger didn't impress them. They wanted a big name. They wanted somebody who could bring in a new system and change things up dramatically.
And so that lasted a year.
Yeah.
And it never really worked because now we're reading the soap opera that was the Orgeron-Canada relationship.
Jet sweep, drink. Jet sweep, drink. Jet sweep, drink.
And so now they're replacing the big name, as you refer to it, with the guy that didn't impress anybody over the final 5 games of season before last.
You're saying didn't impress. I think you're using the wrong verbiage. I think he didn't change things enough. He didn't upheave.
Okay, so
is upheave a word?
So they're going back to the Orgeron 3 yards in a cloud of turf theory?
I think they're going to sit down and say, here's the game plan we want. Let's do some X's and O's and change things.
Do you think the hiring of Ensminger means that maybe Orgeron has a little more influence in this hiring than he did in the hiring of Matt Canada?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
In other words, we've got a boring guy, and we're going to run the ball up the middle, and LSU fans are going to go insane again.
No, it's what I'm telling you. I think they're going to sit down and say, we want you to do the job, but we want to tweak things. We want some new ideas. We want some fresh things put in the system.
If you want new ideas and fresh things, why do you hire 2 guys who are renowned for not having fresh things or new ideas?
You can teach people. You can, unlike what you might hear, you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Who's going to teach Steve Ensminger anything new? Not Ed Orgeron.
You can watch it. You can watch what other folks are doing. You can see it in a lot of places.
So you're happy with that hire?
No, I didn't say that.
749, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. It's traffic time. Here's Ruben.
Starting to see some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
It is 7:52. Keel Sports. Fletch is here.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Tua Tagovailoa connected with Devontae Smith for a 41-yard touchdown in overtime to win the college football national championship for Alabama last night in Atlanta. The true freshman combo allowed the Crimson Tide to complete a comeback from a 20-7 third-quarter deficit to knock off Georgia in the All-SEC title game 26-23. Tagovailoa replaced Alabama starter Jalen Hurts to start the third quarter after the 2-year starter was ineffective in the first half that finished with Georgia on top 13-0. The flying Hawaiian immediately provided a spark for the Tide, leading his crew downfield for their first score, a 6-yard touchdown toss to Henry Ruggs III to make it 13-7. Georgia's rookie quarterback, Jake Fromm, answered 2 minutes later, firing a dart down the sideline to Mecole Hardman, who escaped the tackle and raced down the sideline for an 80-yard score to reestablish a 13-point lead for the Dogs. Both quarterbacks threw ill-advised interceptions on back-to-back plays, with the Tide turning Fromm's miscue into an Andy Papanastis field goal to make it 20-10. The Bama kicker drilled a 30-yarder in the fourth quarter to bring Bama back within 7. Tungo Vailoa delivered a hope and prayer miracle on fourth down to tie the game, throwing the ball in the direction of 3 receivers and a handful of Georgia defenders in the back of the end zone, with Tide receiver Calvin Ridley hauling in the pass to tie things up 20-all. The Tide had a chance to win the game at the end of the regulation, but Papanastis badly hooked a 37-yard attempt to send the game to OT. In the extra session, Alabama sacked Fromm on third down, forcing Rodrigo Blankenship to hit a 51-yard field goal to give Georgia a 23-20 lead. Georgia sacked Tunga Vailoa on the first down for a 16-yard loss, but on 2nd and 26 from the 41, the rookie delivered the game winner to the Amite native Devontae Smith for the win. Nick Saban's 6th as a head coach, 5 with Alabama. And also today, it's expected that LSU will announce Steve Ensminger as their new offensive coordinator. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Happy
It is 7:56, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Sorry, a little groggy. Stayed up late watching football.
Jay Beasy on his budget. We'll have more on that coming up after 8.
The governor, on one hand, and here's a little hint. On one hand, and this kind of encouraged me, obviously I was misled. On one hand, the governor says we have too much regulation. We need to make it simpler for businesses to operate in the state, to cut their costs, to give them a greater chance to flourish and prosper and hire more people and expand the economy. And then he says we have to increase the minimum wage.
Yeah.
And it'll be the law, and we'll make you hire people at $15 an hour because that doesn't
not going that high.
Hurt business at all. 7:57, here's Hannity on KEEL.
Waking up on the right side. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Right, leftist Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren had a short-lived moment of clarity last week regarding the Trump tax plan benefits. In a radio interview last Thursday, she said, look, I'm glad when I read that there are companies that have given out $1,000 bonuses. There are companies that say they're going to rework some of their benefit plans. I'm in favor of all of that. That moment didn't last long, and she quickly went right back to slamming the GOP plan, saying the cuts resulted in a giveaway to America's businesses. But anyway, the Washington Examiner said over 100 companies will be giving out Trump bonuses to employees due to the tax bill. So note to Senator Warren the so-called giveaway to businesses. Well, that's resulting in a massive giveaway to their employees, and we don't have to pay higher prices to fill the gap for the taxes you put on businesses. Thank you very much. Economics 101.
From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
2018 is not just a new year, it's also an opportunity to grow your business with top talent. But how do you find it? ZipRecruiter. One click sends your job ad to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. But ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. Their smart matching technology will instantly alert quality candidates about your job. That means you'll start getting great candidates with the right experience almost as soon as your job is posted. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. The right candidates are out there. This is how you find them. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
People from businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. We're so confident ZipRecruiter will get you better results than anywhere else. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Keeping an eye right now on some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up to Airline Drive right now. And we're still keeping an eye on that minor accident on Pines Road near West 70th Street. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
It is 8:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, the KEEL app, a free download. Erin, local news, she's getting ready right now.
More violence in Shreveport. A young girl is shot. We'll tell you about that. Flu numbers are on the rise locally. What can you do about it? We'll have that coming up, too. And the governor has several items he wants to think about and wants lawmakers on his side.
I think we figured out what John Bell means by revenue neutral. I'm going to give a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit away. I'm going to put some over here, but I'm going to move it over there. And hold on, he gave a speech yesterday that we will parse just a bit.
You bet.
Alabama on the left, what did they call it? A walk-off touchdown. National champions, Saban's sixth.
Roll Tide.
Fletcher in sports.
Last time you'll hear me say that.
Fletcher in sports, traffic and weather all this hour coming up on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Flu numbers on the rise. Dr. Frank Welch with DHH has some advice for folks who are healthy.
Just make sure if you are healthy and want to stay healthy, you stay away from sick people and wash your hands a lot. Then when you're at work, just make sure that that you wash frequently used surfaces like doorknobs and telephones frequently. That can help as well.
He says there are two types this year, type A and B. A, very serious. A child recovering after being shot in the leg. The 7-year-old girl was taken to University Health in a private vehicle. Police went to a home on Merwin Street to investigate how the youngster was wounded. They've determined the girl was apparently shot by a 14-year-old inside the home. Crime numbers down in Caddo Parish. Matt Parker with that.
Crime is down in Caddo Parish. According to stats from the Caddo Parish Sheriff's end-of-year report, overall crime was down 3%. The only crimes that increased in 2017 were shoplifting and general theft. Sheriff Steve Prater says he is proud of the hard work done by his deputies and citizens. The stats, however, do not include the city of Shreveport or any other local area with their own police department. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Busted pipes won't affect your bottom line. Due to harsh freezing temps last week, dozens of water mains burst in Shreveport. Barbara Featherston from the Water and Sewer Department says crews had to repair nearly 60 water mains over 3 days. Despite the increase in workload, Featherston says the repairs were all budgeted for by her department and there will be no increases in anyone's monthly water or sewer bill. The governor has several items he would like to accomplish during the regular legislative session when lawmakers convene in March. Edwards will once again ask them to increase the minimum wage. 18 states increased the minimum wage January 1st. He says $7.25 an hour is just not enough for hard-working Louisiana families.
The federal minimum wage in 2018 is wholly insufficient, and we need to increase that so working men and women have a fair opportunity to get ahead and support themselves.
No decision yet on a possible special session for next month. The Shreveport Council expected to vote today on measures that would allow public drinking at sidewalk cafes, as well as bars and restaurants with patio seating. The new ordinance would also speed up the process for event planners and promoters who want to hold outdoor events with public alcohol consumption. The council meeting kicks off at 3 this afternoon. Congress now back in session, and Louisiana Senator John Kennedy is ready to discuss the reauthorization of CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program that helps many low-income families in the state and around the nation.
Louisiana U.S. Senator John Kennedy is pushing to have Congress reauthorize CHIP sooner than later. Kennedy wrote to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, urging him to make reauthorization of CHIP a priority. He wrote that Louisiana's CHIP program will run out of money by mid-February, so the reauthorization needs to happen now.
It makes sense in terms of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. An unhealthy child is likely to grow up to be an unhealthy adult and cost taxpayers more later.
I'm Sabrina Wilson, Fox 8 News.
After a heartbreaking overtime loss to Alabama in the national championship game, Georgia head coach Kirby Smart says the Bulldogs will come back from the defeat.
I think everybody can see that Georgia's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm very proud of this team and this university, and we're not going anywhere.
The Bulldogs lose 31 seniors. It's been 37 years since the Dogs have last won a national title. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
We ought to have the 4 pennies that we keep be as clean as the penny that we will lose. And by the way, that 5th penny should go away because the sales tax is by its nature a regressive tax.
It is 10 past 8 o'clock. KEEL traffic update. Ruben.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Midway Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're keeping an eye on some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Twelve past 8 o'clock. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. That KEEL app, a free download, and it's by Office Furniture Source. I was kind of encouraged. I was a little bit, I thought, what?
Mm-hmm.
Can the feller have seen the light? Governor John Bel Edwards, in addressing the state's imminent fiscal cliff. It's pretty, the heart wasn't in that one, fella. No, it was kind of lame. He actually is calling for, and here's where I was encouraged, the governor is calling for a reduction in state regulations, a reduction in fees. Let's make it easier for businesses. I mean, is he worshiping at the altar of Donald Trump? Make it easier for businesses to operate and hire and expand. And I thought, wow, a little light at the end of the JBZ tunnel. And then in the next breath, he turns around and says, but we need to increase the minimum wage.
Yeah.
Which is a job killer. Look at Seattle. You want to see what happens when you have a $15 an hour minimum wage?
Right.
It's called automated McDonald's. Now, you have an excerpt about 90 seconds from the governor's speech yesterday at the Baton Rouge Press Club.
Baton Rouge Press Club, they do their weekly meetings.
And so John Bell shows up, and he gives his little talk. And what does he start off with? He's talking about, you've listened to it, I have not listened to the whole thing.
He's talking about the sales tax and where we need to go with regard to keeping the 1 penny on the books or sticking with the 4-cent tax.
When he says revenue neutral, does he really mean that? Or do you, in doing sort of the quick math in your head, we're going to take this and get rid of it, but we're going to add this and we need more?
It's all a shell game.
What was it called? Revenue enhancers?
Revenue enhancement measures, yeah.
Okay, so we need revenue enhancement measures, but we're going to be revenue neutral. I'm a little confused. Here's the governor yesterday in Baton Rouge explaining his plan with dealing with the 1 penny sales tax when it ends. Play it, it'll make sense.
We ought to have the 4 pennies that we keep be as clean as the penny that we will lose. And by the way, that 5th penny should go away because we keep be as clean. That's nature a regressive tax. And the only place in the country where we're an outlier in terms of our tax system is with respect to the sales tax. Because if you look at the combined sales tax at the state and local levels, the average is 10.02%, the highest in the country. I don't believe we should have the highest tax type of any kind in the country, and so we need to get to the business of permanent reform. Adjusting business utilities tax to 4% and industrial utilities to 2%. And expanding sales tax to certain services based on the Texas model. And certainly, as you all know, I've released that plan weeks ago. Again, it comes from the task force that actually met last year and issued its report early in the fall. So there's nothing new there. And I am certainly willing to be flexible. But I've got to have some plan that comes back from the legislature. At some point, saying no has to give way to an alternative, something that they can support. Saying no to everything and offering no alternative actually is the biggest part of the problem, and that's what we have to get past.
Okay, so that's Governor John Bell Edwards' Baton Rouge Press Club yesterday. As we were playing that, I was thinking I was going to ask you. So the one question that really matters is, Governor Edwards, does the state have enough money, or do we need more? Do you need to take more money from the people and the businesses of Louisiana? But then you're kind of shaking your head.
Well, we have $1 billion shortfall. If you ask the governor, he'll say we're $1 billion short. How did we get $1 billion short?
Well, the governor seems to think it's
the
because...
budget's growing.
Hang on, kid. The governor seems to think it's because you and I and the people of Louisiana aren't forking over enough of their paycheck. Alan Seabaugh says it's because the governor's spending too much, because the budget is increasing. So when the governor says, and like I said, my original question was going to be, is the governor saying at the end of it all, does the governor think we need to give more money to the state? I.e., does the state not have enough of your cash? But then at the end he says, well, the legislature just can't keep saying no to enhanced revenue, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So obviously he's saying that we're not getting enough money. We need more money from somewhere.
Yeah.
And we're going to give some breaks here, but it's
all a shell game. It's we're going to raise your cable TV rates, the taxes you pay on that. Essentially, we're going to take all the exemptions off the 4 penny. We're going to do away with the 5th penny, get rid of it, make it temporary, make it go away. But then all the exemptions on the 4-cent sales tax right now, food, drugs, utilities, whatever the exemptions are, that will all go away.
So those are tax increases.
Those are tax increases, and it's amazing to me coming from a Democrat, because you will hear most Democratic folks tell you a sales tax is the one tax that hurts poor people. If they all of a sudden have to start paying higher sales tax on their groceries, on everything they buy, that will no longer be exempt, they get hit the hardest because it costs them larger share of what they make.
So when John Bell says, got to have something other than no, when he says to the Republican-dominated legislature, when he says, you just can't keep saying no, you just can't. Well, first of all, yeah, you kind of can when the question to which you are asking no is, will you take more money from the people of Louisiana?
And I can't help but think, and it goes back to something Alan Seabaugh told us, and we were questioning him about DOTD and how could you cut the budget and how could you do that? You would lay people off. And he said, you remember when our convo, when he said he made a tour of DOTD and he saw people playing video games. And he said he could find, was it 4,000? He could find hundreds and hundreds of people that we could do without just in DOTD alone.
Are you telling me, are you bringing up, are you making the claim, do you want me to consider the possibility that in some departments of state government
there's waste
and bloat? 19 past 8, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time. Ruben's here.
The intersection at Lakeshore Drive and Juella Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping a close eye on some heavy backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up to Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Good morning. It's 21 past 8 o'clock. Time for Keel Sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Tua Tagovailoa connected with Devontae Smith for a 41-yard touchdown in overtime to win the college football national championship for Alabama last night in Atlanta. The true freshman combo allowed the Crimson Tide to complete a comeback from a 20-7 third-quarter deficit to knock off Georgia in the All-SEC title game 26-23. Tagovailoa replaced Alabama starter Jalen Hurts to start the third quarter after the two-year starter was ineffective in the first half that finished with Georgia on top 13-0. The flying Hawaiian immediately provided a spark for the Tide, leading his crew downfield for their first score, a 6-yard touchdown toss to Henry Ruggs III to make it 13-7. Georgia's rookie quarterback, Jake Fromm, answered 2 minutes later, firing a dart down the sideline to Mecole Hardman, who escaped the tackle and raced down the sideline for an 80-yard score to reestablish a 13-point lead for the Dogs. Both quarterbacks threw ill-advised interceptions on back-to-back plays, with the Tide turning Fromm's miscue into an Andy Papanastis field goal to make it 20-10. The Bama kicker drilled a 30-yarder in the fourth quarter to bring Bama back within 7. Tungo Vailoa delivered a hope and prayer miracle on fourth down to tie the game, throwing the ball in the direction of 3 receivers and a handful of Georgia defenders in the back of the end zone, with Tide receiver Calvin Ridley hauling in the pass to tie things up 20-all. The Tide had a chance to win the game at the end of the regulation, but Papanastis badly hooked a 37-yard attempt to send the game to OT. In the extra session, Alabama sacked Fromm on third down, forcing Rodrigo Blankenship to hit a 51-yard field goal to give Georgia a 23-20 lead. Georgia sacked Tagovailoa on the first down for a 16-yard loss, but on 2nd and 26 from the 41, the rookie delivered the game winner to the Amite native Devontae Smith for the win. Nick Saban's 6th as a head coach, 5 with Alabama. And also today, it's expected that LSU will announce Steve Ensminger as their new offensive coordinator. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
It never ceases to amaze me how crazy Donald Trump makes so many people, specifically on the political left. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin, Huffington Post this morning. Trump didn't sing all the words to the national anthem.
Oh, gosh.
It really says that. Trump didn't
man.
sing all the words to the national anthem.
Oh.
He probably got some wrong.
Let's cane him.
The Zach Brown Band was awesome. The whole pregame was absolutely.
I didn't see any of that stuff.
It was great.
I watched Kick to Kick.
You're in Georgia. You're in Georgia, so you know they were going to cheer loudly for the president. As a matter of fact, one website said the way to dismiss the possibility of kneeling for the national anthem is to do it in a southern state.
Yeah.
Bingo. Then Kendrick Lamar at halftime, you had to beep out half of it because of the lyrics.
Was it bad?
It was.
They did it outside, too. I saw that they were doing it outdoors.
Yeah, they did it at an outdoor
they didn't want to put the stage inside and all that and delay things.
It's still the problem with college football games take so much longer than pro games because they stop the clock so much more often.
By the way, I love that Facebook message you sent me. What coach was that?
Which one are you the Mike Leach thing.
Yeah.
About actually playing for a real national championship.
Yeah, they do playoffs in everything but.
I had made the point yesterday, the only sport in which the NCAA does not actually crown a real champion is Division I college football. But for all intents and purposes, one was crowned last night, and it's Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yep.
Tony Tagovailoa comes off.
No, it wasn't Tony Tagovailoa.
What did I say?
You said Tony Tagovailoa.
Oh, Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua Tagovailoa.
No, Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa.
Yes.
Okay.
Tua.
Let's call him Tua.
From Hawaii.
Freshman.
And a real freshman. I had made this point a couple of times. It was not certainly my observation. But when Alabama scored the winning touchdown last night in overtime, on the field, in their offensive unit, 6 freshmen.
That is amazing.
Hey, LSU fans, they had 18 true freshmen who played last night. Now, as an LSU fan, does that make you go, oh, crap, we got to
deal with them for a while.
We got to recruit. What, did you think they're going to go 7-5 next year?
Ooh-wee.
You thought suddenly Alabama, well, they won a championship. If there's anybody who's going to let success go to his head, it's Nick Saban.
What was interesting for me to watch the game last night, and I did watch it from stem to stern, was that Georgia knew
everything about Jalen Hurts and what he was going to do.
He's a pretty one-dimensional guy.
What they had to do to ratchet it up on him, to get in there and disrupt him and disturb him.
Yeah.
And they did an incredible job. And that prompted Nick Saban to pull Jalen Hurts and put in Tua.
Tagovailoa.
Yeah. And they put him in at the half. Jalen only went back in for one little play, which was just to adjust for a field goal.
Right.
And he stayed out the rest of that half. And Alabama came storming back. They were down 13-0 at the half.
The over-under for the game was 45.5. The official Vegas line was 45.5.
Mm-hmm.
At the halftime, it was 13-0. My brother says to me, he says, "You got to bet."
I thought I was toast.
I said, "Those Vegas boys know what they're doing."
Oh.
Now, it was overtime that did me in. They scored 49 points on a 45.5 over-under.
Mm-hmm.
They know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I told you Alabama was going to score 27. They scored 26.
I have a question for you, Mom.
I did okay.
I got a question for you, Mom.
All right.
Because lately, and I don't know why I'm leaning in this direction, I just do. But when I see these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids with the kind of pressure, and I'm talking specifically about Papa Dopolopoulos, the Alabama kicker kid, who gacked the field goal.
Poor darling.
So, you're his mom. Can you in any way put yourself, not in necessarily how you feel when he screws up, but just as you're watching, having had a son who was a pretty good athlete and going to a lot of his games and being that crazy...
I was a loon.
If imagine not your son's emotions in that specific incident, but yours. If your son, who is a 19 or 20-year-old, the one that you carried for 9 months, your baby, and he's out there, and the hopes of Tide Nation are resting on his shoulders, or at least this case, on his foot.
He can win the game.
How would you as a mother feel? You tell me.
I would have been crushed.
No. Before, not after he blew it.
Oh, before.
I want you to say, leading up to that, as you're in the...
I'd have been a nervous wreck. I probably couldn't have watched. But you know more than the kicker? You know what my heart broke for? Who caught the winning pass? The freshman who caught the winning pass.
Devonta
Smith. He goes by that defensive back, and the defensive back thought the safety had him and was coming over. And the moment he looks up and realizes the safety is not there, you see in his eyes the beep moment.
So I got a question for you.
My heart broke for that child.
So my question is this. Would you rather be in a position, would you rather be in that moment, that awesome moment of achievement and fail? Or would you... Let me phrase it this way. Would you rather last year's Super Bowl, would you rather be the Atlanta Falcons, or would you rather be some poor so-and-so that went 3-13?
Ooh. No, I still want to go to the big game. I still want the experience.
So you would rather, as of today, this morning, you would rather be that Georgia defensive back rather than an LSU defensive back who was watching the game with his boys at home.
Yeah, because you still were at the championship game. You had a shot. You were a contender.
Unless you're the Alabama kicker. 29 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Erin has local news up next. What you got, kid? Ruben's here.
The intersection at Lakeshore Drive and Jewella Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping a close eye on some heavy backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up to Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire. Your AccuWeather.com forecast, mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight, areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Crime down in Caddo Parish. According to numbers from the sheriff's end-of-year report, overall crime down 3%. The only crimes that were up in 2017 were shoplifting and general theft. Sheriff Steve Prater says he's proud of the hard work done by his deputies and citizens. Now, the stats do not include the city of Shreveport or other local areas with their own police departments. Busted pipes won't impact your bottom line. Matt Parker explains.
Due to harsh freezing temperatures last week, dozens of water mains busted in Shreveport. Barbara Featherston from the Water and Sewage Department says crews had to repair nearly 60 water mains over 3 days. Despite the increase in workload, Featherston says that the repairs were all budgeted for by her department and there will be no increases to anyone's monthly water or sewage bill. For 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Shreveport Council set to vote today on a measure that would allow public drinking at sidewalk cafes as well as bars and restaurants with patio seating. The new ordinance would also speed up the process for event planners and promoters who want to hold outdoor events with public alcohol consumption. The council meeting kicks off at 3 this
What's going on with all this? Can you help?
To help the citizens get their water bills corrected and right. I mean, every 30 days, all of us get a water bill, and over the past several years, they've been wrong. And I don't know about you, but I want to feel confident in the bill that I get. And when the mayor says that she can't assure the citizens that the bills are accurate, something has to be done. You know, so did I give them a water bill?
From what some would call a fine?
That's absolutely a fabrication to sell newspapers, I guess. No, absolutely not. Never talked about that. Never involved in that. No, absolutely not.
Of course.
I never knew about it, so I didn't know I was in line to get any kind of. They came to me and asked, and again, you know, I get a. It's if what Pernice and Wainwright were saying was true in October of 16. I'm sorry, and started, and it takes a bill every 30 days. That's wrong. You know, it may be corrected. I don't know. That's the real story. Is why aren't the bills fixed? A bill every 30 days that's wrong started, and it takes a year to do it. So I guess in 2019, after we've all received a bill every 30 days, after we've all received a bill every 30 days that's wrong, you know, it may be corrected. I don't know. That's the real story. Is why aren't the bills fixed?
Just a simple.
Ooh, short segment here because we ran a little bit long. Nothing wrong with that. Robert and Erin, Jeff Everson, City Councilman, just a couple of seconds away, explaining increased internet speed and, well, and the 4G to 5G and how the city is involved, et cetera. I just wanted to point out that Erin McCarty and myself, very gutsy, very brave, we're both battling the flu today.
Yeah, we are.
Now, it's not the real flu. It's the psychosomatic flu.
The imaginary flu.
That we both got yesterday after we talked to the Department of Health and Human Services guy.
It's so weird.
And we're like Woody Allen characters in them, you know?
I am lathering this stuff on.
I'm telling you, you are coating
Purell
yourself.
or
You
whatever.
are you could swim the English. Don't drink the
Oh,
Purell.
my bad.
She looks like a Christmas ham.
839, 1017 FM, 710
Did
KEEL.
he just insult me?
No. Oh, no. Who doesn't want to be a Christmas ham? Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Greenwood Road and Juella Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Mr. Jeff, we are rolling, so just fire at will. You can keep it short and sweet. Mr. Jeff, I got you rolling here, so whenever you want to cut that for me, that would be awesome. You can keep it short and sweet.
Hi, this is Shreveport City Councilman Jeff Everson, and I love listening to Robert and Erin in the morning because they keep us informed. They keep our community knowing about the important decisions that are being made that affect us right here, and they're a lot of fun to listen to.
Perfect, sir. I'm going to put you back on hold, and we will be with you here in about 15 seconds.
All righty, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Me. I'm going to hurt somebody.
1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin, it's 842. KEEL app's a free download, and it is brought to us by Office Furniture Source. Shreveport City Councilman Jeff Everson. Hey, Mr. Jeff, Happy New Year. We have not spoken in a while. Hope things are well.
Things are great. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you much. Okay, so the meeting yesterday, it's explain to me the city, we want to go from 4G internet, 5G. Explain, because you're smarter than me and Erin.
We're digital morons.
Exactly. Well, I was kind of too a little bit, other than, I know how to use it, but I don't know much about the infrastructure, which is why we had the meeting yesterday, really. So the industry is looking at upgrading the way that they provide service throughout the country. And as they look at Shreveport, they are looking at going from a system where they had just a few large towers around town to a system where they're going to have those towers as well as a bunch of small towers, little small installations, things that might be mounted to a steeple or a electric pole or, a billboard or something. And so what we wanted to find out is This kind of hit our agenda in November. We didn't really know much about it. It just showed up on there, and we were being asked to make decisions on how to regulate it. Well, we really didn't feel like we had enough information yet, so we asked some more questions, got some feedback. We had the meeting yesterday just to get some more input so that we really had a better understanding what this technology was, and we wanted to let the community know a little bit about it so we could get some feedback on what their concerns might be. When we look at how this has been rolled out in other cities, it's varied drastically. Some cities it's the equipment's pretty subtle and doesn't really look too bothersome. Some cities you see very loud, very noisy equipment that requires a lot of power to run it. So it's just a spectrum of the results that we've seen in other places, and we're trying to figure out how we can get the best result here.
See, my first question was yesterday, holy cow, when did the city get into the internet business? My sense was, and you can set me straight, that like Comcast, for example, they want to put up an internet tower or whatever they need, or Verizon or AT&T or whoever, and they come to you and say, we want to put one here, can we have your land? And you guys go, yeah, okay, and these are the rules. Do I basically understand how that works?
Well, it's essentially for the use of right-of-way, that's one aspect of it. But typically the utility company would probably already have a right-of-way agreement. So really a good way to think of this is more like permitting. When we permit something, if somebody's going to remodel the bathroom in their home, they go file some permits, and they, if somebody's going to do add-on to their house, they go file some permits. There's a staff that knows how to review them. Well, this is just a highly specialized technology. And because of the number of these things that they're talking about doing, which is quite a few, there's the potential that our engineering office has to review them to make sure they're safe, to make sure they're not, placed in such a way that a pole's going to fall or that an electrical fire is going to happen. And what we want to do is make sure that the engineering staff who's tasked with reviewing these is not so overwhelmed that they're not able to get to those things that are important to all of us, like street repairs and water repairs and things like that we know we're already behind on.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. We're talking to City Councilman Jeff Everson. It's all good, the regulating and making sure they're put up right, but people listening are going, when am I getting 5G?
I know, right? Well, so here's the thing about this, why this has kind of come to the forefront so quickly, is we're having to make kind of quick decisions about it because these companies are moving forward with it fast. And so they are looking to roll out technology. We heard some different numbers thrown out yesterday as to when we think it's realistic, but it's in the next couple of years. However, I think they're looking to have infrastructure in place really by the end of this year. So we could see it, as early as the next year and a half or so.
You said a second ago, well, they're going to need more small towers. There's no such thing as a small tower.
No, I guess we call them small cells.
I understand, but
a cell installation. It's like an antenna. Really.
My question is, like, when you say we're going to need more, 5, 10, 30, 50, what kind of numbers are they talking about?
Again, great question. Again, that's kind of that's one of the questions we asked yesterday. We got something of an answer, but we're looking for a more detailed one. But it sounded like, it could be in the range of 100 or more initially. And then long term, when the network is fully built out, we're talking about having one of these things on every city block.
Yeah, so 100 now.
You can rent space on my house if you'd like.
And when you say
exactly right, but you can see why that would be overwhelming, because we're talking about initially a large number of these things, and again, they're not necessarily new to the telecommunications industry, but they're new to us, and so our engineers don't know all the safety specs right off the top. It's a little bit of a learning curve. So that's why we're asking these questions ahead of time, because we want to make sure we keep people safe. We want to make sure we don't slow down the rest of the city work, and so it's a balancing act. Again, you hit the nail on the head, Erin. I think a minute ago you said, it's well and fine to talk about regulations, but you have to strike that right balance. We want to protect the public interest, but we also want this technology. It's really cool technology. We're going to all use it, And
you bet.
So,
let's go back to the 100 new towers. Are these like basketball goal height? Are they 20 feet?
It depends, Robert. What you see when you look all over the, when you kind of Google small cells on the internet, you come up with a bunch of pictures of what's been done in other cities. And sometimes these things can be really subtle. Sometimes they're kind of encased in a box and they can even hide between two street signs. Sometimes they're run right along the side of a building, or sometimes they're kind of an extension at the top of a light pole, or that kind of thing. But then sometimes you look at them and it looks like a whole, it looks like a scene out of a Michael Bay movie, like a streetlights transforming into some kind of big monster, you know. And,
Okay, one more quick question. So, as these companies are applying for more permits for these hundreds of towers, permits ain't free. Does this down the line mean that everybody's bills are going to go up?
Well, no. Hopefully, it's not the bills to the consumer. What this is, these companies have been saving for, for this rollout of this technology for a while. In fact, as I understand it from the conversation yesterday, they're already starting to research what the next thing after this will be. So they realize they have this budgeted already. I mean, this is something they've been planning on. But we do want to make sure that we are coming up with a way to charge for this, a way to permit for this that allows for, number one, a quick turnaround, because that's going to be the most important thing for them, is how quickly can we get them an answer about is this safe to build, and because they're going to have so many. And number two, I mean, you don't want to overcharge. You want to charge what it's going to cost. You don't want the taxpayers who are paying the cost of the city employees. You don't want the taxpayers' resources to be spent on something that's really should be the cost of the private company, and that private company, it intends to pay for it. So you want to come up with the right way to charge for that, and I think we're still working on that. We're trying to find something that works for everybody, and we're trying to get enough input so we can figure out what that is.
Jeff Everson, Shreveport City Councilman, thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks so much, Robert and Erin. Great to talk to y'all.
You bet.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel, traffic update. No, let's go to weather. AccuWeather.com, forecast for the day. Just about like yesterday, kind of cloudy, no chance of rain. Middle 50s right now, 45 at Keel. It's 8:50, and here comes your money now on Keel.
Mr. Jeff, I got you rolling here, so
Hi, this is Shreveport City Councilman Jeff Everson, and I love listening to Robert and Erin in the morning because they keep us informed. They keep our community knowing about the important decisions that are being made that affect us right here, and they're a lot of fun to listen to.
American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
There's a proposal floating around for a bipartisan deal in Congress to address the Dreamers and border security. It's being proposed by a Republican, Will Hurd, from Texas, and a California Democrat, Pete Aguilar.
Deporting the country's estimated 11 million illegal immigrants will cost the country nearly $125 billion. But allowing them to remain in the United States would cost U.S. taxpayers nearly $1 billion over their lifetimes.
The economics and the politics say there's a deal to be made here. The only question is whether Congress has the will to make it.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, and streaming live at keelnews.com.
Hey, football loser Robert J. right here, and football genius Erin McCarty once again for Twin City Appliance.
Grandma just broke my refrigerator. Oh, sorry.
It's a little late on that, don't you think?
Is it a little late?
Let us take a moment in the new year, as we begin 2018 to once again thank Twin City Appliance for signing up with us again.
Right.
How great is that?
I love them.
TwinCityAppliance.com. If you have a major appliance on the fritz.
If your sausage balls for the game were hot because your fridge didn't keep them cold.
That's exactly the example I would have used.
You can get that fridge fixed, or your washer, your dryer, your microwave, your oven, whatever appliance you need to kick to make it start. Twin City can fix it so you don't have to kick it again.
Welcome, and thank you to Twin City Appliance for joining Robert and Erin on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL for another great year. It is our pleasure. You got a bad appliance? Call them now. TwinCityAppliance.com is the website. The phone number is
318-688-0253.
Say it for me, Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Cliff. Oh, wait, hold on.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Nice job.
Okay. Tua. We're just going to call him Tua.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. So you think Jalen Hurts transfers? You think he changes positions? You think they give this kid the starting job next year? Does Alabama have a quarterback controversy?
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
I don't think they do at all.
This guy's the new guy.
Okay, then they don't have a quarterback controversy.
Jalen Hurts is gone. Trust me. You saw no passing acumen from him at all.
Acumen.
That's it. Your mic's not on.
You never get to make fun of us again.
Hold on. Well, I had to record some stuff off the air with.
Yeah, okay, whatever the excuse is. Yeah, okay.
Damn it, never mind. I give up.
Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM. On that high note, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Kim Commando.
For years, I've warned parents about the dangers of smartphones, especially Apple's iPhone, the standard by which all other smartphones are measured. And now, even Apple's own investors are speaking up. I'm Kim Commando with your Tuesday Consumer Tech Update. Two major Apple investors, Jana Partners, LLC, and the California State Teachers Retirement System, sent an open letter to Apple saying that scientific research clearly proves the dangers of the iPhone to kids. In the classroom, it poses a major distraction. At home, its high use, more than 4 hours a day, may well be a significant factor in teen suicide. And perhaps most importantly, there is no longer any question that children who consume lots of social media are many more times prone to depression. Together, these investors control more than $2 billion in Apple stock. They clearly have no interest in causing harm to sales. They're asking for better parental controls on the phones. But until Apple responds, as a parent, you should listen very carefully to what they're saying. I'm Kim Commando.
Why just listen to the Kim Commando Show when there's so much more? Why not watch the whole show in high definition on your phone, tablet, or television?
This is so cool because you're so nice.
Or download the podcast in crystal clear digital audio. Watch or listen on your schedule, driving, exercising, or relaxing.
I have been following you for years, and you've made me pretty much the genius.
But Kim's Club is so much more. You also get security and data breach alerts, priority calling into the Kim Commando Show.
My favorite digital goddess. I'm so glad I get to talk to you.
And Kim's Club offers discounts for everyone over 50, former and current military, and all service personnel. It's never been more affordable to be a Kim's Club member. So stay up to date the easy and fun way. Because these days, you can't know too much about technology.
And it's like you're our friend on the radio, and I just think it's awesome.
Go now to club.commando.com. That's KOMANDO, club.commando.com.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us.
Every single person has the opportunity, the chance, the risk to be corrupted when they get power.
You mean if they're not already oriented in the mindset that they are a public servant?
Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
Sorry, my mic's broken. 8:59. One more look at traffic on KEEL. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Greenwood Road and Juella Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly cloudy with a high of 55 today. Cloudy tonight. Areas of fog with a low of 47. Milder, high 63 tomorrow. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Sean Hannity, weekdays from 2 to 5 on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL for breaking news and trending talk. Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.